This video is all about Class 6, Lesson 4, an Indian American woman in space, Kalpana Chawla. This is a news report. Tragedy in space. US Space Shuttle Columbia breaks into flames. This is the heading. In an unprecedented space tragedy, US Space Shuttle Columbia, carrying India born American astronaut Kalpana Chawla and six others, broke apart in flames as it streaked over Texas towards its landing strip on Saturday, 1st February 2003, killing all seven on board. The shuttle lost contact with NASA at about 9 am, 19.30 hours IST, as it came in for landing. It was flying at an altitude of over 2 lakh feet and traveling at over 20,000 kilometers per hour when ground control lost contact with the shuttle. Columbia had lifted off on 16 January 2003 from the Kennedy Space Center, Florida. It had stayed in orbit for 16 days, and the seven members' crew conducted 80 experiments before it began its downward journey, which ended in tragedy. This was Columbia's 28th space flight, and the shuttle was said to be good for 100 flights. This particular clip is about a newspaper main column, which was written by the news reporter, and she kept the whole thing into a small paragraph with the heading Tragedy in Space. US Space Shuttle Columbia breaks into flames. How actually the everything, which means the tragedy, how actually happened with all the main points. So, in an unprecedented space tragedy, US Space Shuttle, which is Columbia, carrying India born American astronaut Kalpana Chawla, and along with her, there are six others, okay, who broke apart in flames as it streaked over Texas towards when it's actually going to be landing, it's ready to be get landed. At that moment, it actually held, which is on Saturday, 1st February 2003, and unfortunately, all the seven members on board were killed. So the space shuttle lost contact suddenly with NASA at about nearly like 9 a.m. as it came in for landing. It was flying at altitude over 2 lakhs feet and traveling at over 20,000 kilometers per hour when it actually lost control with the shuttle and also lost contact with the NASA. Columbia had lifted off on the Columbia is nothing but the space shuttle name. So Columbia had lifted off on 16th January 2003 from the space center named Kennedy Space Center, which is located in the Florida, and it had stayed in orbit for about 16 days, and all the seven members in a crew had done many experiments, nearly 80 experiments before the tragedy actually happened. And this was Columbia's 28th space flight, and the shuttle was said to be good for nearly 100 flights. So let's get into the lesson. Kalpana Chawla said that she never dreamed as a child in Kernel that she would cross the frontiers of space. It was enough that her parents allowed her to attend engineering college after she graduated from Tagore School. Kalpana Chawla said that she never ever dreamt so big as a child in Kernel, and she never ever imagined to cross the frontiers of the space. Frontiers is nothing but borders. So she never ever felt dreamed so big to even cross the boundaries of the space. It was enough for her, which means she is very much satisfied with her parents that they allowed to attend her for the engineering college to study for further, and she for the graduation. which she did in Tagore School, and it was a satisfactory moment for her. After a Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical Engineering against great opposition from her father, she went for a master's degree to the United States of America. She later earned her PhD in Aerospace Engineering. Kalpana Chawla was the first Indian American woman astronaut to blast off from the launch pad at Cape Canaveral, Florida, and participate in a successful mission in space. Her family from India cheered along with the staff at the Kennedy Space Center as they watched the Columbia lift off. After a Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical Engineer against great opposition from her father, which means she did Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical Engineer, and her father didn't agree in the beginning to do so, but later he agreed and she did it. She went for a master's degree to complete in the United States of America. She later earned her PhD in aerospace engineering. Kalpana Chawla was the first ever Indian American woman astronaut who blasted off from the launch pad at Cape Canaveral, Florida, and who actually participated in a successful mission in space. Even her family from India cheered along with the staff at the Kennedy Space Center as they watched the Columbia liftoff. Kalpana was born in Karnal, Haryana, but a naturalized US citizen married to a flight instructor, Jean Perry Harrison. Besides being an astronaut, she was licensed to fly single and multi engine land airplanes, single engine seaplanes, and gliders. She was also a certified flight instructor. After qualifying as a pilot, Kalpana began to consider another challenge. Applying to NASA's Space Shuttle program, she was first hired as a research scientist at NASA. In 1994, she was selected by NASA for training as an astronaut. Kalpana Chawla was born in Karnal, Haryana, but she was a naturalized US citizen who married to a flight instructor named Jean Perry Harrison. Beside being an astronaut, she was also licensed to fly single and multi-engine land airplanes, single engine seaplanes, and gliders, and also a certified flight instructor. After qualifying as a pilot, Kalpana began to consider another challenge, which is applying to NASA's Space Shuttle program. She was